Now normally when I come out to take photographs, I'll come out for sunrise and occasionally I'll come out for sunset. That's not always possible. And if you're coming up to the Lake District on holiday, chances are you're going to want to do some walking. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a nice walk that's got a few opportunities to take some nice photos. I'm at the village of Patterdale and I'm heading out for a walk along the foot of Place Fell. I'm going to get some nice views of Ullswater and the village of Glenridding. Now the route that I'm taking today is a circular route, and it takes us out on one path and back on another. And the first path is the higher path, and that's quite steep in places, quite rocky. So it does require a little bit of effort. Today's walk starts and ends in the village of Patterdale, which is at the southern tip of Ullswater. It's about 5 miles long, and it's about 2 and a bit miles out and 2 and a bit miles back. And it takes you out to an area called Silver Point, which has beautiful views looking back up Ullswater. And that's one of about 3 or 4 opportunities for photos that we'll get today. It's about 11 o'clock, and that's much later in the day than I would normally take photographs. Any other time of year, the sun would be far too high in the sky, and it kind of creates harsh lighting conditions that are not particularly good for landscape photography. But as we're getting towards the end of November now, the sun isn't really able to get very high enough in the sky, and we might get away with a few half-decent shots. After about a mile, you come to this viewpoint overlooking the village of Glenridding. And this is the first of our shots. Now unfortunately today, the sun's just gone behind a bank of clouds, so we've got very, very flat light. But it's still a reasonably good composition. In the foreground you kind of got the village of Glenridding itself, and then behind that you've got the mountains of Glenridding Dodd and Sheffield Pike. As well as the composition that's tight up against Glenridding, I've also gone for a much wider angled shot, about 24mm. I'm actually quite pleased with it. So with that shot in the bag, it's time to move on. Next stop, Silver Crag, overlooking Silver Bay. That's where we're headed, Silver Point, and that should give us good views up and down the lake. I've come off the path and I've climbed up Silver Point as high as I can, and I was hoping to be able to get to the end to be able to see the view of Ullswater, but I've found it really difficult to pick my way through all these spiky juniper bushes. But I have found a little shot just over here. And so I've got this view looking back towards Ullswater, and then on the right hand side I've got all these silver birch trees on the hillside, and I think that makes quite a nice shot. I was just sitting there having a hot chocolate, looking out at the view, and I found myself staring towards Glenridding Dodd. And then it dawned on me that there actually might be a shot there, and the light was coming in from the side and playing across the crags and the trees on the side of the hill. And it looked really good. I leapt up, I had to put the wide angle lens on to fit it all in, and of course as I was doing that, the light went back in again. So I'm just going to sit here for a couple more minutes and just see if that comes back out again. I've waited for a couple of minutes and it doesn't look like that light's going to come back and light up the hillside like it was earlier. So I'm going to pack up my gear and we're going to head on. So next stop is Silver Bay itself. Ignore that! I spoke too soon. The light is back and it's creating some beautiful highlights and shadows on the hillside. So I'm just going to try and bang a couple of shots now. I'm having to bracket my exposures, which I'll blend together in Lightroom when I get back home. But yeah, this could work. That's where I'm heading, Silver Point. But as you can probably see, the light's gone ever so flat. But if the rest of today is anything to go by, the light could be back any minute.
Is this the last time I can see you in a while? Is it the truth that you'll be living tonight? We should take a walk then as well.
And here we are, Silver Bay on Ullswater. And if you look up here, you can see these silver birch trees that line the hillsides, and you can see exactly where it gets its name from.
Waiting and missing, I never thought you would leave me here.
So I think that's it. We've had the best of the light, but we have got some brilliant cloud cover, which could make for a really moody sky. So while we're here, we'll explore a few of the compositions that you might be able to photograph if you come here as well.
Ooh, honey, this is in no way funny.
I've set up a little composition here. I've got the bay curving round, and I've got the silver birch trees on the hillside on the right hand side, and then in the foreground I've got these rocks. Now as we look away, we've got that brilliant kind of sky. I'm not using any filters for this shot. I'm going to bracket and blend together in Lightroom. And because I've got such a prominent foreground, I've gone from f11 up to f16 to try and make things as sharp as possible.
And I'll be waiting here when you come home. Can we get out of this one? Waiting and missing, I never thought you would leave me here.
I did something then that I very, very rarely do. I just turned my camera around 180 degrees. I was photographing down Ullswater and I looked behind me and there's this line of rocks leading away from the camera towards the mountain in the distance. So I just simply spun the camera around, refocused and took another shot.
We will find our way back together. But right now, there's stormy weather.
Now I'm going to spin the camera back round again, so we're pointing back down the lake as we were before, and I'll do a quick selfie with me standing on this rock.
I never thought you would leave me here. We can get out of this one. A tunnel of feelings, just like we got through everything else. But I see you, honey.
With a selfie in the bag, that's me done at Silver Bay, so it's time to pack up my gear and head back to the car.
We will find our way back together. But right now, there's stormy weather. But right now, there's stormy weather. We need more than hopes and wishes for us to make it through the night. Stormy weather.
So I thought that was it. We finished up at Silver Bay, we were heading back to the car, but then we saw this composition looking back towards Glenridding and I had to stop to take it. They got some fairly boring sort of bracken here on the left hand side, and I've used this juniper bush to cut that out, but this view is absolutely beautiful. Got no light whatsoever at the moment, but it's really moody, very subtle tones, and I think it'll be alright. Again, no filters, just bracketing, which will blend together in Lightroom later.
Got 7 years to life. 7 years to life. I've been told that time will heal all our wounds and our sorrows too. No.
I've been to Silver Bay, I don't know how many times, countless number of times. I've been here on my own, I've been here with my wife Helen, been here with friends and family. But today has to be one of my favourite visits ever. I've had an absolutely brilliant time. It's about, as I said, it's about a 5-mile walk, and it should really only take me 2 to 2.5 hours, and I think I've been out for 5 hours. And it's just been so much to see, so much to photograph, and so much to video as well.
My heart got 7 years to life. 7 years to
That's just about it for me for today. I've had an absolutely fantastic time. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment below because I've got a few ideas I think you might just like.